Hi everyone, welcome to Board of Tanks with stewiejp. I'm Stewie and this is the T62A. I know what you're thinking, 2 replays in 1 week on my channel featuring myself. No, it's not really featuring me. This isn't a game where I do that good in, but it's probably no secret at this stage. Tugboat and myself have both joined 1AR clan, and this replay is just before we joined. We're platooned up with IMC Jimmy. It is tier 8 to tier 10. Tier 10 Batchat artillery, the BC 155-58. Of course, that's an artillery I don't have. I haven't got any tier 10 artilleries, but I was lucky enough to be involved in the Hunters Down event not so long ago, or maybe a couple of months ago by the time this one goes up, and I had a few goes at it, and it's an absolute ripper. It's got 4 shells in its auto-loading gun, and it's a pretty fun artillery as far as artilleries go. Now we're on steps and I'm doing what mediums do, down towards the eastern flank, and you can see there's a few heavier tanks, the Kranwagen, the JPZ E100, the Ferdinand and the AMX 5120, getting very brave. Now without giving too much away, this is probably the only good little thing I do here. It really shows how much better in the turret the T62A is compared to the Object 140. They're 2 tanks that are often compared. And I can comfortably damage the Object 140's turret, but can't pick up the kill because the Batchat does it for me. 1 zip is the score in this game on steps, and that's not going to be happening for long now. Of course, Tuggy's in his Conqueror gun carrier, which he absolutely loves, and Jimmy's in his French Batchat, and this game is all about Jimmy. This is a game where he aces it and does a hell of a lot of damage. I'm just going to sit here and try and put some damage into these enemy medium and heavy tanks. You can see Ez there, the commander of PB Cat Clan. He's always up for a good laugh, but he's a little bit outgunned here in his M46KR, the Korean pattern. Premium American medium tank. 1 zip still the score. Just trying to keep these tanks lit. Centurion Action X gets rid of the Batchat, and at the same time Turkish Delight on the enemy side kills the Jagdpanzer E100. I'm a little bit nervous to poke over that top of the ridge because I reckon could get sniped from something at the back, but all the enemy tanks have been lit apart from their artillery, so I'm just going to try and work with these heavy tanks to try and clean up these mostly lower tiered tanks, the IS-3, the M46KR, and there's an M46 pattern somewhere around here. Take a shot from both the IS-3 and the MKR, put a bit of damage into the MKR, but copped it a little bit, given the E100 a bit of room, but I get set on fire from that pesky IS-3, so I put a shot in. I want to get rid of that IS-3. He obviously knows where to shoot this tank to set it on fire, and looking for a way to try and get rid of the Centurion Action X. The IS-7 does it for me, and E100 with the IS-7 comfortably could get rid of that IS-3. IMC Jimmy picks up his first kill, getting rid of the T-57 American auto-loading heavy tank on the other side of the map, and with the score on 7-3, you'd think that we're probably going to do okay here, but this is where things start to go a little bit south. Look, keep one eye on this AMX 1390. AMX 1390's gotten rid of the Scorpion G, so we know he's shot some shells, and he's heading straight for our 2 artillery, and no one is quick enough to get back now. I mean, the T-49's doing what he can, but he's taken Tugboat out, and Tugboat did the honourable thing, put himself in front of the Batchat artillery, so he could only shoot at 1. Now this is where I make a little bit of a mistake here, but going up to do a bit of mountain goat climbing just to see if there's anything else sniping from these hills like they often do. Then I realise every tank's been spotted on the enemy side apart from the artillery, so the Kranwagen, who was taken out on the engagement on the western side of the map, says yep, get on cap, and I couldn't agree more. Probably regretting not going straight to the cap, also regretting not spotting this area earlier. So 30 seconds on the cap timer. I'm not going to shoot that SDRV. I've pinging him to follow me. If we get 3 on, we can win this, because all these tanks over here, the Object 260, the E100, the T57 Heavy, none of them are quick enough to get back for the reset. Of course, the 1390 is, and there are 2 artilleries. So I think you know what's about to happen. 8 all's the score, 7 seconds left on the cap. And there goes stewiejp in his T62A. Killed by the French artillery, but of course this Arty's fired as well and put a massive damage in the E50. That's where I stuffed up. I really should have spotted that area a bit more closer when I was coming down this way. Instead of cutting across, probably really should have went all the way down there to try and spot out and get rid of the German artillery. And now with the score on 10 all, it's not looking as good as it was. We've got an IS-7 and E100. The Strudelwagen, or whatever they're called, the big tier 10 Swedish tank destroyer, gets killed. The enemy Batchat Arty gets spotted, but I don't think anyone's in a position to shoot him. And with the score on 11 all, 2 heavy tanks. Looks like they're going straight down the guts, which is a bit of a risky move when there's 2 artilleries still left on the enemy tank. And there you go. The big German Arty takes out the German heavy tank, the E100, and puts the advantage back on the enemy side. IMC Jimmy's picked up 2 kills, and without giving too much away, he's done pretty well in the far as damage as well. The IS-7 spots the Object 260, the personal mission reward tank, and this T-49 looks like he might be going for the Batchat artillery, which is probably not a bad move. You could get rid of at least one of these enemy artilleries. That could really help our chances. This is where the Batchat Arty was last spotted. The T-49 looking for him. Wants to put one of those derp shells into the French artillery. He spots him. I'm tipping that he hasn't been spotted himself, otherwise he really would have moved. And now it's just IMC Jimmy and AIM-22 from Viper Clan in his T-49. IMC Jimmy does the job, gets rid of the T-57. Now it's just a light tank with IMC Jimmy on 4 kills. And 2 enemy artilleries. Looks like that Batchat knows he was spotted, so he's done a bit of a runner. Looks like Jimmy might have just had a bit of a shot at where he was last seen. He's got 1 shell left in his clip. He's letting his team know that by hitting the F8 key. T-49 says, no worries, I'll give you a hand. I'll put a shot straight into the Batchat Arty. Doesn't pick up the kill. The Batchat Arty shoots. I think it's about 4 seconds between shots from memory on these Batchat Artys. Of course, Jimmy's let his team know that he's on the reload by hitting the F8 key, and it is an extensive reload too. 2 shells just go off near the T-49. 1 would have been from the Batchat, 1 would have been from the German. Jimmy's still got 55 seconds left on his reload, and so he's trying to move into a different position where he can get a different angle on this dirty little French Batchat 155 58. And it looks like he might be on the reload, the enemy artillery. So the T-49 not stuffing around, going straight after him, straight through the guts as IMC Jimmy moves towards the enemy flag. There's still plenty of time left in this game. Bit less than 7 minutes, which is plenty of time when there's only 4 tanks left. Maybe he wasn't on the reload. But T-49, shotgun. That's what we like about T-49s. IMC Jimmy letting his teammate know that he is ready to fire now. And of course I've pinged K0, which is the place I should have spotted earlier. A big mistake by me. But IMC Jimmy has taken a little bit of damage, probably from that 1390 at the start or the middle part of the game when the 1390 killed Tugboat and a Scorpion. And IMC Jimmy trying to encourage that GW100 to poke out from the corner by sticking his tank on the cap circle. And of course the T-49 can spot him from there, no worries at all. And they'd be pretty confident that that German artillery is loaded. It's pretty hard to tell, I suppose, with Arties, but IMC Jimmy having an absolute ripper game, 4 kills. And the T-49 trying to bait the German artillery into moving. German Arty shoots and misses. Jimmy shoots, but Jimmy's still going to have 3 shots left in his clip. The T-49 being a pest, just trying to annoy that German artillery, and IMC Jimmy picks up his 5th kill and absolutely carries that game in his Tier 10 French artillery. As we have a very quick look at the post-game battle results, nothing to write home of from my point of view, but IMC Jimmy 5,534 hit points of damage, 5 kills, 1,025 base experience, and he tells me he aced it in that game. He was high-fiving like the Aussie cricket team when they win the Ashes. It was absolutely awesome. And of course, me and Tuggy not having the best game of our life, but I'll tell you what, we had lots of laughs in that game. And that night, doing a few platoons with IMC Jimmy and some of the other 1AR lads, which they are always up for a good laugh. But a pretty exciting game. It was pretty exciting to be playing it and watching it when it was happening. And it was an absolute ripper. That batch at Tier 10 Artillery, Jimmy was absolutely wrapped, picking up an Ace Tanker Mastery badge in the Tier 10 French Arty. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to check out IMC Jimmy on Twitch. I'll put a link in the video description below. It's always full of good times, good laughs, and a few shenanigans. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you all next time.